Let's explain this bandsaw fiasco. On with the show. On with the show. It's not a project. This was in the workbox over there, and the other day I had the project to cut these bolts off, and it was suggested that I put the bolt in this fixture from this direction, put it in the machine, and then saw it off, and I would not saw this piece of metal in two. Well, this right here, I had just neglected to put it on the machine. I have several fixtures, and if you have been watching some of the videos in the past, you may have observed that I do have extra holes drilled in this machine at different places up there, and a couple here for different fixtures that I use when I use this machine. And this is one of them. And I only had 4 bolts to cut off, so I didn't drag it out. But to clarify the reason that this is not the good idea to put the bolt in here like this and saw it off, is when you clamp that down right there, like that, and you're going to cut this off. Okay, when you saw that off, all is well, and the movable part of it will fall down and cut the switch off. All is well. But the problem is when you're taking this out in this position here, then you're working in a confined space. So I elected to, and it works really good and it's really fast. It only takes about 30 seconds or so to saw one of these bolts off. 1/2 inch in this particular case here. And that's about, there's other ways to cut a bigger bolt off. But I have found out this right here. If you mount the bolt like this right here, put it in the fixture, and then come down and make your adjustment to where you want to cut it off. Tighten up the movable jaw. Lock that into position. Okay, when you saw this one off, and you put another one in there, then they will all be exactly the same, determined by the spacer that you use here. And I only had 4 to do. So instead of dragging this fixture out, and I have like 3 of these that are special built for different projects, and one of them being, and this really works really good, that if you let's say that you wanted to cut this piece of metal to a determined length, deep. You wanted to make a saw slit in it halfway. Okay, if you mount that in the vise and you saw it, you will end up with a slanted saw gap right there. Well, you can take this fixture right here, the same type, and just twist this end out here to the angle that you desire to come out with a straight blade, determined by how deep you want to cut the saw blade. There ain't no blueprint on this. Just kind of hit replay and kind of give it some thought in real time. Just kind of picture it in your mind there. And there is a position where the angle of this and the angle of the blade are exact. And at that point, if you want that to saw to a determined depth, a straight cut, then you have to have a stop right here in order, when that comes down, and it'll stop at exactly the degree of the cut and the depth that you desire. And that's the reason for this type fixture. That one, if that angle was the same down here, the piece of metal, when it comes right down there, then it'll stop, and that would be the depth of your cut. And that could be adjusted up and down. And all it is a hole drilled in the base, all thread, and some 1/2 inch nuts, and a stop going across, and a short one here. The reason for the 2 is when this is working, That would be the bolt is free to take in and out. You do not remove the fixture. Just take the bolt in, put another one out, and it's out here in a position to where that you can actually get to it without getting over in yonder. It goes really fast this way. You have no obstacles in your way. The way this works is this would be at rest. When you are ready to make the cut, you just turn this top one around, and that lets the blade go down to where that it would start making a cut. Okay. Once the cut is completed, I'm gonna take this off for clarity. Once that cut is completed, well, I'll show you. Just take a second. And when you're making changes down there, this would be right here, and so this is free. Your blade's not in the way. Once this, observe. Once the cut has made, when you have sawed that off to the length, this will be out of the way. Once that's sawed off and you saw free of the bolt, that will fall down like that, and it's still clear of the bracket, the jig, by ½ inch, and it easily sawed through that. So, and that would fall away. You'd bring this back up, turn that like that, and insert another bolt out here in an area where you can actually work with it. Tighten it up, ready to make another cut. Pull that over, zip, and you made another cut. It's all in the jigs, and once I get all of the cuts made, and remember, this is just an off-the-shelf El Cheapo 4x6 bandsaw. It's a Harbor Freight Tools. I think it was like $149 when I bought it. Once you have completed the project, just set this, remove the jig, and put it away for future use. I do have like 4 more jigs. There's another hole over there. I do have a vise that fits here, assorted other fixtures, holding fixtures to go on this machine. The only thing this was for was to clarify the reasoning behind mounting this jig this way, and I was neglect in not installing this stop even for the 4 bolts. I should have did this, because I did make a little saw scratch down there, and that's not good. But anyways, it's just an explanation. Now let's get on to something else now.